Hari Om everybody, welcome back. We will get started. गणानान्त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आन शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामविद्यवत् ॐ गणेशाय नमः ॐ सरस्वत्यै नमः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये वागीशाद्याः सुमनसः सर्वार्थानाम् उपक्रमे यं नत्वा कृतकृत्याः स्युः तं नमामि गजाननम् वक्रतुंड महाकाय कोटिसूर्य समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ शन्नो मित्रश्यं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि सद्गुरुं तं नमामि नमोऽस्तु ते व्यास विशाल बुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायत पत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारत तैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमय प्रदीपः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्य केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं यस्य सन्निधिमात्रेण सर्वे शिष्याश्च सेवकाः कर्मक्षेत्रे प्रवर्तन्ते चिन्मयं तं नमाम्यहम्. Before we start today's class, it's a very auspicious day today of Gita Jayanti. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim. You know this shloka by Madhusudana Saraswati describes the glory of Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is considered a universal book of guidance, Margadarshaka Grantha. So we celebrate that we got this from Bhagavan Narayanena Swayam, Bhagavan Krishna himself, directly. Bhagavad Gita is known as that Lord's song composed by sage Veda Vyasa Muni, found in Mahabharata. There are traditionally about 700 shlokas. There are 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita found in the middle of Mahabharata, Madhye Mahabharatam, in Bhishma Parva 25-42 of the 6th canto. Its teachings are timeless. It's applicable to all of humanity at a universal level. Our Puja Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananji, was considered a modern day Gitacharya, and we celebrate Gita Jayanti as Tapovana Jayanti, our Parama Guru, our Guru's Guru. Ideally, it takes about 2 hours to chant all of the chapters. If you cannot do it, my suggestion would be at least listen to the essence of Bhagavad Gita lectures on our channel. Now, we had left at the 17th verse in Bhaja Govindam, just before the Thanksgiving holidays. I hope all of you had a good Thanksgiving holiday. So let us start from the 14th verse. because this 14 through 27 is called Chaturdasha Manjarika Stotram, composed by all of his disciples. That is where we are. It's not like they sat down and composed all this. Whoever accompanied him on that day in Kashi. So we start with the 14th shloka. Jatilo mundi lunchita keshah kashayambara bahukruta veshah pashyannapi chana pashyati moodah udara nimittam bahukruta veshah. You know, this is a sweet scolding, as we said, to sannyasis, not to focus on external appearances. Jatilaha, one with matted locks. Mundi, the one with clean shaven head. Lunchita kesha, as though the hair is pulled. Kashayambara bahukruta vesha, parading different shades of orange clothes. Pashyannapi, even after seeing. We have covered this in detail. I'm just recapping. Na pashyati, does not see. This moodaha, this is all bahukruta veshaha, these makeups, these roles, external appearances, all of it is for udara nimittam, for the sake of livelihood, all these cheap stunts. And Bhagavad Gita says, Indriyarthan vimudatma mityacharasya uchyate. He's having this split personality. Outwardly, he is exhibiting as though he is a sannyasi. He wants all these titles. But internally, he is focused on artha and kama. Pashyannapi, even after seeing, cha na pashyati, that he does not see. This is the unfortunate part. This is the sin in the sannyasin. That is why he says, udara nimittam bahukruta veshaha. It's all a mockery. It's all a show for a good livelihood. This indictment for a pseudo-sannyasin who has adapted all these disguises, these imposters are nothing but conmen who deceive innocent people. And we also saw this disguise dates back to Ramayana. Ravana, our 10-headed monster, came in the form of a sannyasi, a sadhu, and deceived even our Jagannmata Sita. But as Gruhasthas, we should continue to honor the tradition, our dharma, to take care of the sannyasin. Our red line, our Lakshman Rekha is trust but verify, not to fall prey for any kind of deception. And in the next shloka, we saw Angam Galitam Palitam Mundam Dashana Vihinam Jatam Tundam Vruddho Yati Gruhitva Dandam Tadapina Munchatyasha Pindam. Angam Galitam, the body has become weak. Palitam, ripened. Mundam, head and hair has turned grey. Jatam tundam. Mouth has become toothless. Vruddho yati gruhitva dandam. This old man is walking with a cane. Tadapi, even so, Asha pindam na mukhyati, na munchati. False hopes, desires, does not let it go. The reason I'm recapping this is the shlokas that we are going to do today are how we can connect the dots on this. The theme. Here in this verse, Totakacharya, the bundles of desires are not going. The body is shrinking. Hair is turning gray and falling. Tooth is falling. We need additional accessories to walk here. Tadapi, even then, Asha pindam na muhyati. The bundle of desires have not gone. We saw the quote last week from 2 weeks ago from Taittiriya Upanishad of 1 unit of joy of human, Manusha Ananda in Brahmananda Valli. We saw the quote from Viveka Chudamani on what to talk maxim of having all the 5 senses. Just trying to recap that. In this verse, we saw how beautifully the depiction, if we fulfill the desires, we are bound. And we are bound if because of unfulfilled desires also. In the next verse, Agre vahnihi prushte bhanuhu ratrau chubuka samarpita januhu karatala bhikshastarutala vasah tadapina munchatyasha pashah. Tadapina munchatyasha pashah. In the verse 14, how a pseudo sannyasin was pointed out. In this verse, a sannyasi with minimal needs, minimal comfort. He just has fire in the front, whether it's for warmth or doing his rituals. Prushte Banu, sun in the back for comfort. That's all. In the Ratrau, he is Chubuka Samarpita Januhu. He is huddling. He is bearing the cold nights by huddling his chin tucked between his knees. Eating just the karatala bhiksha. When the food is available, he eats minimal. No bhiksha patra, meaning no possessions. All this, tadapina munchati ashavayu. The cords of desires are not gone. All this becomes a show. So he has used 3 terms. Asha Vayuhu, Asha Pindam, Asha Pasha. Then we saw in the last class, quote from Kaivalya Upanishad, Na karmana na prajaya, dhanena tyage naike amrutatva manashuhu. Then we saw the acronym, PORT. Sannyasi must mentally renounce these 4 things. P for possession, na dhanena. O for obligation, no duties, no obligations, na karmana. R for relations, na prajaya. Then T for no transactions. No transactions whatsoever, no desires. So that desirelessness. Tyage naike amrutatva manashu. That is where we had stopped. Today, we will go to the 17th verse. If you have got the text, you can follow along, or just follow along here. I am sharing on the screen. Kurute Ganga Sagara Gamanam kurute Ganga Sagara Gamanam Vrata Paripalana Matavadanam Vrata Paripalana Matavadanam Kurute Ganga Sagara Gamanam Vrata Paripalana Matavadanam Jnana Vihinaha Sarvamatena Jnana Vihinaha Sarvamatena Bhajatina Muktim Janmashatena Bhajatina Muktim Janmashatena. Together. Kurute Ganga Sagara Gamanam Vrata Paripalana Matavadanam Jnana Vihinaha Sarvamatena Bhajatina Muktim Janmashatena. This shloka or words is attributed to Subodha, and other disciple of Shankaracharya ji. Kurute Ganga Sagara Gamanam. He is addressing about people who just do yatra, pilgrimage. They start way up there in Gomukh, come to Gangotri, Rishikesh, Kashi, and then all the way to Ganga Sagar, where Ganga river joins the sea in Bay of Bengal, in West Bengal. Some people, they go from Kashi, take the Ganga water, offer it in Rameshwaram in the south and back. Then other people, they perform all forms of austerities. Vratam, Vrata Paripalanam. They do regular Ekadasi Vratam, fasting, so that they can feast elsewhere. Some do Shivaratri on other religious observances. Some take an oath that they will manage their life with only 2 pairs of clothing. One on their body, one has gone for laundry or washing. No closet space. Some do Mauna Vratam. They do not talk on certain days of the week. Some do Dhanam, charity. Tanu Mana Dhana. Some give in the form of time, because they volunteer their time. Some give support financially. But these are good austerities, good tapascharya. Gnana Vihinaha. Now comes the punchline. Gnana Vihinaha, but one who is devoid of knowledge or experience of the truth. Muktim na bhajati. All these good deeds are for purification of the mind and the intellect, but not for liberation. For how long? Janma Shatena. Even if you are reborn for hundreds of lives. Then he says, this point, Sarva Matena, all Vedantic schools of thought, they agree on this point. Let us analyze this statement a little bit. Why is it said that all the good deeds will not give me moksha, liberation? because these deeds are in the realm of karma. They are not opposed to ignorance, avidya. Shankaracharya ji, in his composition, Atma Bodha, second verse, gives a very beautiful example. Bodhonya sadhanebhyo hi sakshat mokshaika sadhanam pakasya vahnivat gnanam. Punchline. Pakasya vahnivat gnanam vina moksho na siddhyate. Knowledge alone is the direct means to liberation. Pakasya vahnivat gnanam. Let's take that example. To illustrate this case in point, Shankaracharya ji uses a basic example for all of us students. See, when we need to cook, the vessel has to be scrubbed, shiny. All the vegetables are cleaned and cut. The rice and all the spices and so on. Then what do we need to do? They will never become food to consume on its own. You need vahni, fire. That alone will accomplish cooking. Fire is the direct means to cooking. Similarly, the performance of austerities, all these vratams and all that, dhanam, offering of gifts, controlling of the mind, they are all called sahakari sadhana. They aid in liberations, towards moksha. All these karmas are not directly opposed to avidya, ignorance. So the old saying in Vedanta that snake appearing on the rope does not disappear even if you chant Garuda mantra, because it doesn't exist. It appears to be there. Same way, these karmas are in the realm of finite. Just like another example in this third verse he gives, Tejas Timira Sanghavat. Only light can remove darkness. See, this bondage that we talk about is notional. It's a notion. It's a Bhranti. Only right knowledge removes that erroneous notion. Here, one more point of clarification. Gnana here does not mean that I study all of the scriptures, all of the shastras. How does this Atma Gnana work? The knowledge of my infinitude happens is that I understand that Jiva Brahma Aikya. Even in Viveka Chudamani, number 56, he says, Brahma Tvaikatva Bodhena Mokshaha Siddhyati Na Anyata. Vivek Chudamani, number 56th shloka. I need to do vichara. I need to do that inquiry. In that Mahavakya, Tattvamasi, there is Tat Pada Vichara. There is Tvam Pada Vichara. Asi Pada Vichara. And through a qualified guru, I say, Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. This understanding that Aham Brahma Asmi might happen in one text or several granthas. But note that, we have already hit that Powerball, jackpot, lottery, because we have already started on this noble path. Let's move on to the next verse, number 18. Let me share the screen. Suramandira taru moola nivasaha. Suramandira taru moola nivasaha. Shayya bhutalamajinam vasaha. Shayya bhutalamajinam vasaha. Suramandira taru moola nivasaha. Shayya bhutalamajinam vasaha. Sarva parigraha bhogatyagaha. Sarva parigraha bhogatyagaha. Kasya sukham na karoti viragaha. Kasya sukham na karoti viragaha. Suramandira taru moola nivasaha. Shayya bhutalamajinam vasaha. Sarva parigraha bhogatyagaha. Kasya sukham na karoti viragaha. One more time. Suramandira taru moola nivasaha. Shayya bhutalamajinam vasaha. Sarva parigraha bhogatyagaha. Kasya sukham na karoti viragaha. This shloka or verse is attributed to Sri Sureshwaracharya. He is known as Vartikakara. He has written 12,000 verses in a commentary on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. In the previous verse, we saw Hasta Malakacharya ji criticize an unintelligent austerities. And Sureshwaracharya ji is continuing on the same theme here. Suramandira taru moola nivasaha. His dwelling place is a courtyard of a temple, Suramandira. Or taru moola. He may take shelter under a tree. Taru moola nivasaha. Shayya bhutalam. He has no bedroom. He sleeps on the naked ground, on the floor. Ajinam vasaha. He wears nothing but a deer skin. Ajinam. Tyagaha sarva parigraha bhogaha. Renouncing the idea of possession and the thirst for joy, thirst to enjoy. Meaning, he has renounced and relinquished thirst for enjoyment of objects. Mentally enjoying something that you have previously enjoyed. You may be physically far apart, meaning he has given up without lamenting or boasting what he has given up. That is viraga, that virakta purusha, that person of dispassion. He has derived deep satisfaction within. So Sureshwaracharya ji here is asking the question, Kasya sukham na karoti viragaha? To whom that this dispassion, this vairagya, not bring happiness? Let us analyze this statement a little bit with some references. Tyaga and viraga. See, when tyaga is only external, when there is still sense of attachment within, then one cannot derive the true joy of living. The reason I recapped from 14th verse today is that this theme started in the verse 14. Description of a pseudo-sannyasin with matted locks, different shades of orange robes, not caring for even bare necessities, but entertaining mentally a host of desires. See, what he is trying to do is to drive the point that this is a state of mind, this vairagya. Renunciation is internal. What these spiritual masters are trying to do is that they want to make sure that we have spiritual alignment. Just like a car, we talk about alignment for a good ride and handling. Same way, we know on this journey we need spiritual alignment. They know that the desire is the barrier that separates the individual ego to realize the divinity within us. That is the barrier. That's why that ego, one person defined as, edges God out of the equation. Edging God out is ego. That is why this desire is personified as, in all religions, as the devil within us. Christianity calls it Satan. Islam calls it Shaitan. Buddhism calls it Mara. And in Hinduism, we call it Asura. And so on. Right now, we have studied 3 types of illustrations. The first one was in the 15th verse. You cannot entertain desires and be done with it, because if you entertain one, the next one pops right behind, like that tissue box example. Old man, no teeth, no physical energy, everything is drained out of him due to sense indulgence. In that, yes, yet there is Asha Pindam, entertaining a bundle of desires in the 15th verse in his mind. He himself is on life support. No teeth, hair has turned gray. Therefore, indulgence is not the solution to drive desires away. In the second illustration, in shloka number 16, I hope you are following along. Exhaust the desire through physical abstinence. Mere physically giving up. In that verse, the person has no possessions. He takes alms by the cupped hands, cupped palms, karatala bhiksha, takes shelter under the tree, yet bound by the desires rising from deep within. So what does this indicate? Just by physical withdrawal, it does not eliminate mental entertainment of the desires. So far, two illustrations. The third variety we saw was that we covered today. One who does not indulge too much into sense pursuits, nor he abstains from the world physically. Instead, what does he do? He goes on pilgrimages, observes vows, vratams, gives dhanam. His whole religious life revolving around rituals. Such an individual also cannot escape the bondage of desires. That is the idea. See, in Sanskrit, raga means attachment. Vairagya denotes transcending that attachment. Detachment, dispassion. One of my high school teachers used to say, if you have too much appointment, you will have disappointment. Now we know Vairagya is a state of mental attitude, not physical. We have already seen this quote from Kaivalya Upanishad, na karmana na prajaya na danena tyagena ike amrutatva manashu. There is another footnote in our Pujya Gurudev's commentary. Bhartrhari in Vairagya Shatakam, number 31, says, Vairagyameva abhayam. When the enjoyment, when we have Vairagya, abhaya, fearlessness comes. Fearlessness comes only with Vairagya. That's what he says. So this shloka goes like, Bhoge Rogabhayam. When there is enjoyment, there is fear of roga, disease. Like sweets. You know, one or two you eat, then the third one you start to worry about your A1C level, your sugar level. Kule Chuti Bhayam. In his family, in that kula, everybody is a PhD. But this fellow is struggling to even get good grades in high school. So there is Chuti Bhayam, peer pressure. Vitte Nrupalu Bhayam. When you have too much wealth, there is fear of securing it from thieves or from the tax authorities, government, IRS, etc. Mane Dainya Bhayam. In honor, there is fear of humiliation. Bale Ripu Bhayam, a wrestler. who is very strong, always afraid of somebody will challenge him. Rupe jaraya bhayam. In beauty, there is fear of old age. All the actresses, they constantly get plastic surgery here, there, and so on. Why? Fear of old age. Shastre vadibhayam. An erudite scholar of literature, he is always afraid of his opponent's opposing point of view. Gune khalabhayam. A virtuous fellow is always afraid of people with no values. Kaye krutantad bhayam. Strong fellow is afraid of death. Sarvam vastum bhayanvitam. Bhuvin runam vairagyameva abhayam. There is fear in everything else except vairagya. So this viragi purusha, a person of renunciation, is not the one who runs away from his obligatory duties. He maintains the right relationship with the world. A dynamic person who performs his duties with no possessiveness, no kartritva, no bhoktritva, no enjoyership, no doership. And Bhagavad Gita calls such a person as Sthita Prajna, a man of realization. 2-55, second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Shri Bhagavan Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha sthita prajnastadochyate. He has reached that state of desirelessness, ever reveling, content with true self. Atmani eva atmana tushtaha. This is a benchmark shloka. Let us see in our next class how Bhaja Govindam describes this person. Today, we will chant the shloka. We will analyze that in our next class. Yogarato va bhogarato va Yogarato va bhogarato va Sangarato va sangavihinaha Sangarato va sangavihinaha Yasya brahmani ramate chittam Yasya brahmani ramate chittam Nandati nandati nandatyeva Nandati nandati nandatyeva Yogarato va bhogarato va Sangarato va sangavihinaha Yasya brahmani ramate chittam Nandati nandati nandatyeva. We'll stop here. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramayah sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om asato ma sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. May all be healthy. May all be happy. May all see auspiciousness. May none suffer. Om, peace, peace, peace. We'll open it up for